Look at you.
We're matching.
We're matching.
Are we? Why is there a feedback?
Normally that sorts itself out in a few seconds. So,
Okay.
how you doing?
I think it just sorted itself out.
Oh my God, you look awesome. Look at that. So you got the memo.
What memo? Which is the red? I got the red memo.
Yeah, exactly.
I got the red memo. I was feeling into this moment of seeing your face and just wanting to say, hi, face. Like, hi, face. It's so special. I feel like in this sort of day and age and all the things, and like to just be face to face with another being.
You know, I keep talking about sharing smiles, like an honest to God smile. You know, I'm
And
with
you know, and smile from like the wholeness of you. So yesterday I was I know you got a soft spot for Austin. Yesterday I was on the lake trail. So the lake trail is just a few minutes walk from my house, and I decided on my walk, I decided I'm gonna walk from the awareness of my heart, and I'm just gonna beam love at everyone just from my heart. I'm just gonna be from the awareness of my heart, and what I got to experience was how shut down everyone was, because no one was like people had the blinders on, you know, and I related to that, you know, like I see myself there, you know, but it's just so interesting when you decide I'm going to actually smile from my heart and from my belly. And then I actually brought my awareness down. I'm like, I'm like, I'm just going to walk from the awareness of my pelvis right now and just to totally get out of my mind and just actually be in the locomotion. And then what was really cool, and I think that you and I kind of geek out on body and movement and this kind of thing, is I started to tune into all of the domes and arches in my body, like the arches.
Right.
And I started feeling into sort of like the suspension bridges, you know, of my body, and just kind of, and it was such an interesting experience. Like, and I started tripping out on how much was going on in walking. Like there was so much going on, and I could feel rotations of things happening, and like, I'm like, there's so much going on here. And how often am I completely not tuned into that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I liken it to most people, if they're lucky, they're aware of the marionette version of themselves. Yeah. And when you look at the old Chinese medicine and Qigong things, and you look at anatomy trains, and you really get that it's a bubble, it's a balloon on a balloon on a balloon and a balloon with a balloon. And all those balloons are just like, oh, it's orgasmic. And yet most people settle for the lankety marionette, I call it the half-melted marionette version. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so with you.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know that in this work, in Neville work, and, you know, it's like, you're not your body, you're not body, but I feel like my body is my access point to the divine. I feel like it's my access point to my humanity and to the divine. And
it's the number one thing you've imagined up. If there's anything imagined up that's closest, quote unquote, to you, it'll be, it'll be the layers and fractals of you. It's funny because so many people want to neglect the body, and it's like, y'all is talking non-duality and stuff like that, but you don't get it. I can tell, because if you did, you'd get how sacred this meat suit is. It'll come, it'll go, it'll age, it'll get hurt. No big deal. But the thing closest to me is the meat suit, you know? And it's all layers upon layers out from that, you know?
Mm. You know, it's something that I realized, you know, the work that I do is I help women get free from food addiction. And I realized on my own journey that my body was playing charades with me. It was acting out the spiritual dilemmas or issues that I was wrestling with internally.
Yes.
And so, you know, like the feeling of being not enough was driving me to eat too much. And then the fear of being too much, being too serious, too loud, too sensitive, too high maintenance, to all the things, was also then contributing to this massive restriction. And, you know, and so I had both these things going on, and I realized that I'm like, my body's playing charades, it's acting out these things. Yes. It's fascinating.
Yes. Sure. I love games because games really reveal the games we're actually playing. Mm. So you got to teach someone charades, and everyone loves charades, especially when they're half drunk or whatever. But it's like, oh my God, I'm drunk on myself all day long playing charades for lifetimes. I mentioned being born 3 months early, 2 pounds 4 ounces. I can tell you why. I came in feeling small, thinking abort. I don't want to do it this time. Right? Wow. I don't want to. Right? So how can we play abort mission? Right? We'll come in we'll come in with a skid mark. Right? Right? It's all a charade. It's all turtles all the way down. It's all fractals of like, what have I seriously and unseriously, what am I setting in motion all the time? I got to say, I love these angel wings coming out of your head.
Isn't this fun? You know, so I'll just share with you about, because this is totally intentional. You know, people are like, do you ever notice? I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I always had before me, so my last name in German means lighter, the one who lights. And I've always loved that. And I had a friend who painted for me this beautiful chandelier when I opened up my first Pilates studio. And she was like a gift to me. And it was this beautiful chandelier that had all these beautiful lights. And that was always my backdrop. It was always my thing. And then when I moved out to Austin, I'm like, I was just looking at so many things, and I came across this. I'm like, this is ushering me into the next expression. And I want to share a story with you, actually. So I have multiple women's groups and various things, and I'm a part of a women's business group. And we were having a conference in Hawaii about 3 years ago. And I was just new to meeting these women, and I remember there was, you know, this last scene. We were outside of this supermarket. We were all saying goodbye to each other. It was the very, very end of it, and everyone's kind of getting supplies for the ride home or whatever they were doing next. And so there was a bunch of us that were just sort of saying goodbye to each other. And I remember approaching this woman, and I remembered her. She stuck out to me because she's a priestess. She's a seer, you know, and I remember, you know, saying goodbye to her, and we were very new to knowing each other. And so she just she hugged me, but then she kind of pulled back and she said, "Sorry, what's your name again?" And I said, "My name is Debbie." And without skipping a beat, she said, "That's not your name." And TT, as soon as she said that, what I heard was divinity. And I remember in that moment thinking to myself, I can't wait until I'm the woman who feels worthy of that name. Mm. And right, you know, and last year I started just feeling her presence. She just was I was in San Diego, where I lived, in this beautiful, really lovely beach town area called La Jolla. And I would go on these night walks, and like La Jolla just shuts down at nighttime. And it was, really, really warm at nighttime. And so at like 9 o'clock at night, I'd be walking down, and I would, we lived right next to like one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the city. And I would walk straight down the center of the road because there were just no cars anywhere. And it was just me and the silence and the palm trees and the stars and the moon and the sound of the ocean. And it was just a sacred thing. And I would feel her presence. Like I just felt her so much. And, she's landed. And so when I moved out here and I saw this painting, I was like, oh yeah, divinity wants that. Yeah.
Isn't it nice, fully, and the words aren't going to cut it, welcoming yourself home, letting yourself shine, like really just accepting who and what you truly are, so that you can invite other people to accept who and what they truly. Your head's going to fall off.
Because I just had this experience. I have it all the time, right? Like you have it all the time.
Yep.
And it's humbling. It's it's like it's the most humbling thing when you realize who you are.
Yep.
There's so many stories that are bouncing in that I want to share with you. But this just happened last night, actually, when I was on that walk, and after the experience of the heart and the pelvis and all the things and the domes and arches and walking and everything. And then I started really focusing in on this whole idea of, well, actually, I'll share with you, because I started feeling into one of my emergents. This feeling of being completely held and cherished and seen by a partner, right? So being seen, cherished, loved, and loving partner, all those things in an emergent. And then what I got in that moment was, are you able to fully see you? Are you actually able to fully receive all of you? And as I'm walking on this trail, I just start crying, and I'm just having this moment of regarding myself and the fullness of who I am, and the depth and the inconsistencies and all the things, right? All the things, and just like embracing all of it. And like, I felt like I was stretching, just stretching. I have these moments sometimes, I'm sure you can relate, of like feeling like I'm stretching outside of the skin. I'm stretching.
Totally. Yes. Everything is breathing it in and breathing it out and stretching and yeah.
And it was such a sweet homecoming. I mean, these moments, like I've got like these very specific moments of my life of like, I remember the moment that I came back inside of my body, and that was a homecoming. And these moments of, like recognizing and honoring and receiving my divinity. And, it's just, and there's so much more, right? I feel like such a beginner. I feel like such a novice with all of this, because gosh, it's like I was just thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking about the body and this access point of the divine. And then as soon as I thought of that, I thought of all of the limitations, like the physical limitations, like, oh, this doesn't work so well. And, oh, I've gotten kind of like favoring this shoulder, and, oh, I'm doing these things. I'm like, oh my gosh, again, what an analogy of our bodies playing charades. Like, look at all the ways that I'm still defending my limitations, defending my history, defending, the ways that I am not divine, right? Denying my divinity. And so I feel like such a baby with all this.
I know you understand my love affair with curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
It's the infinite curiousness, the infinite willingness to explore, to emerge. It's just, it's like the pudding's always cooking.
Mm. Yeah. Every day I say a prayer that is essentially asking to set aside the old man.
Yeah.
And to be able to step into a new experience of myself, of what you would say, of who I am and how this works. And, I know according to Neville, everything's been created, but I feel like I step into a new place of possibility each day, but also each moment that I remember that, Yeah.
There's never been an expression of you before. And in the next moment, we can say there's never been an expression of you before. And the next moment, we can notice again, oh my God, there's never been an expression of you before. And then if we add me in, so there's never been an expression of you and me like this before, like this before, like this before. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Creating God as we go.
Go as we are creating God.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to this time. I really have. Because we planned it for a long time ago.
Oh my God. It's funny to me. I used to be, let's say, a little more a slave to structure. And it would be like, right, so I want to get these done within the next 2 weeks, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, fuck it, man. You know what? I've become free by really, really getting this whole divine timing thing. We set it up as we set it up. It's not an excuse to let things slide. Some people try that game. It's just I know you and I will have the perfect dance because I've experienced the perfect dance. And it's like, all right, we get to notice, when, where, and you happen to be in Austin. Oh, there are not many places that I miss. There are many places I've enjoyed, but Austin is one of the places that I do miss. What? You can come up. 7 years and you can't figure out how to jump up on my lap. Come on. You can do it. You can do
it. Something that I really, really want to acknowledge in you. And I think I shared this with you at the very, very end of DDD. I think it was the very last recording that you gave.
Wow.
And I felt your softness and your innocence and your humility and your beauty in that last recording. And it touched me so deeply. And, I know that we all have a progression of our teaching styles and, we develop more attitude in one direction or another, and things just kind of shift and change, and it's all perfect. And I notice when I watch an old video of yours, I feel that innocence, and I love that about you. I love this, this sweetness and the softness about you. I remember my mom telling me at one point, because my whole journey, I mean, clearly, you dedicate your life to helping women get free from addictions because you kind of had a few, right?
Right.
And I remember my mom. I don't think that she told me that I was hard. I think she was just reacting to it. I don't think she had the words for it. But when I softened again, she said, "You've gotten your softness back." Mm-hmm. And I think that it's such a, that softness and that innocence that I see in you, that I feel, that I really, really value. And I feel like we need more of that in the world.
I'm so tempted to say especially now, but it's an eternal need as well.
But I did feel that. I felt that implied in the statement. It is, and it's a shame that innocence is something that is almost seen as you know what I mean? Like, oh, that person needs to get a little bit of, street smarts, or, maybe a little bit too naive, or there's something just so sweet about that. Right. And that is also God, right? That childlike innocence, that childlike wonder, that's another part of this whole deal that I feel like the body is something that we don't really talk about a whole lot, is reclaiming that part of ourselves.
Is there anything, my experience of the body is to really inhabit this bugger, it really requires an exploration of innocence. Because being divine, we can kick the ass of everything, I'm glad having the adventure of a lifetime from New Jersey. But to inhabit the body, to really inhabit your body, and to be willing to have oopsie moments of any kind, to be willing to just notice I've hurt something, I'm discovering a new way to play with something. I feel your joy of walking is what I would just call the balloon bubbles, or the bubbles of balloons. And it's like, for most people, I get they're going to feel that would be incredibly complex. The half-melted marionette man is incredibly complex to me. Yeah. But when moving from and experiencing all those lines and bubbles and balloons of fascia, and it's just like, oh my God, it's heaven giving birth to heaven, giving birth to heaven, giving birth to, we're back at the car now? How did that happen? And yet you remember every moment, every sub-slice of time. It's all there. It's just, God, I really got hard at one point. And when innocence came back with a vengeance, oh my God. I appreciate you bringing that up and acknowledging that, and thank you.
I agree with you, though, as you talk about the body and innocence. I mean, I feel like that's our humanity. I have this phrase like, let's practice doing human together, and there it is. It's like just the messiness of the human experience and the awkwardness of the human experience, and the beauty and the exploration, and, like, to use your word, the curiosity, all of that stuff is all a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. So good.
You're yummy just to sit with.
You are too. I I was listening to a lot of Ido Portal for some reason over the last 2 days. I don't know. I just really felt like going there and wanted to connect about this idea of improvisation. Like in movement, going from isolation to integration to improvisation. And like this time that we have right now is improv, right? This is what we're doing.
Right.
The human experience is that of improv. And I was just feeling into that, just that relationship that we have. And then I also thought about what allows for us to do really good improv is a hell of a lot of preparation. Like for example, I don't know what you do in the pool, 20, but I imagine that you do a lot of improv. And I imagine that you have prepared your fascia and your mind and a lot of things in order to have an internal climate, an internal environment that's available for a dynamic improvisational movement.
That whole yin and yang thing.
Yeah. Go ahead, please. No, please.
Yeah, having the foundational structure so you've got the freedom to play with inside of it and outside of it.
That's it.
But without that foundational structure, it's funny because I noticed the patterns behind my writing, and I noticed the patterns behind my writing evolving. And I notice that gives me such an amazing freedom to reply with amazing freedom, right? Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because I'll sit here and I'll be typing a reply on Facebook, and you know how I do it? Like one reply takes up three separate little posts, or to 7, and I'll be giggling halfway through because I'm discovering what the fuck is showing up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is so good. I know the structure, but I don't know what content's going to show up in it. And it's like, I've never said that before. That's brilliant. And it's not me, quote unquote. It's just the brilliancy of experience, the brilliance, the light that we are. Yeah, your last name. I love that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's that. But it's not possible without knowing English or typing or noticing the structures that I utilize, but I'm not held prisoner by.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's every time, gosh, I mean, you do a lot of Facebook, I do a lot of Facebook Lives. It's like and even if you're doing a YouTube video, right? It's like, as soon as you press play or as soon as you press go live or whatever it is, it's all improv. I mean, whatever you thought you might say, whatever might happen, now you're co-creating with the present moment. And it's just this moment by moment unfolding that you're discovering. I don't know what's going to come at the end of the sentence, and it's like, there is so much trust and willingness and humility. And that's what I mean by let's practice doing human, because I can't do human with you if I'm not willing to fuck up. If I'm not willing to look bad, right? Like, I have to be willing for this to all go, as they say in South Africa, like all go pear-shaped. Like, I have to be willing for that. And
if we're not willing to fuck up together, we can't make a baby.
Yeah, right.
If it's no, we'll do the perfect presentation together. It's like we're not even in the same planet. No. But if we allow ourselves to fuck up together, what gives given birth to? Oh my God, it's the miracle kids. Yeah, wow.
It's so rich. It's so rich.
And I bet you that's never been said before. This little dance we just had has never happened in humanity ever. But in divinity, it's been waiting to go. Here we go.
Here we go. So I know you've read the origin story, and I'm really curious what you feel like Neville would say about the Big Bang Theory. Because I've listened to stuff of his where he's like, we don't come from worms and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, are we going to go to the idea of that with the Big Bang, everything was created, so that everything was created, so it still fits in because everything that comes from that was already part of the creation thing? Or do you think that Neville really like was anti-evolution? Like, what's your sense about that?
Wouldn't I love to know? I don't have a clue.
Isn't it kind of interesting?
I can tell you my bits.
What are your bits?
So my bits appear to be that as consciousness, what we do is evolve. And as consciousness that evolves, it's like I notice when we got one puppy, we had one puppy. When we got two puppies, we got two puppies. And at some point, the two puppies learned how to game each other. And it's like, oh my God, they've taken on a whole new expression of life and gaming each other. It's like they danced from day one. You know, it would growl, hang off each other's face, do what two puppies do. But at some point, they learned to game each other, and the games keep evolving. And it's like, wow. Fundamentally, they're still puppies. But something, the discovery of the dance of them. So in Neville's speak, I noticed Neville says something like God being infinite in potential to be infinite in actuality had to forget what God is. And so my experience of that is as we forget what we are, we get to experience, and even in this lifetime, I've experienced being a single-celled organism, a virus, a bacteria, a sperm. Whoa, that was really fucking disorienting. It's wild, as well as experienced being a little boy, a teenage boy, a young man. And it's like whether or not we use the thing with words for me is fascinating because they all have baggage. I'll just say, from what I can tell, as God emerges, as God as an emergent is all this, all of us, and it doesn't end. And on the other side, when we try to do the seeming war bit, oh my God, the breakdowns that happen versus the dance. Like when these two forget that they're brothers, oh my God. It's like, you can just tell, it's like one dog's going to eat the other dog real quick. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly it's like, oh fuck, we're brothers. Welcome back. Oh, that was a trip. Wow. and then they're brothers again.
Mm. Yeah. The ongoing emergent of the puppies, the ongoing emergent of us, the ongoing emergent.
Yes.
Of God.
Yes. I really do get that. It's like, if you don't forget, you can't remember. If you don't, if you stop defining where you are, you get to discover where else you can be. And we live in a culture that's really so much worshiping one side of that coin versus like, what else can we be in this phone call, in this next breath, in the next dance we do, and wow. Yeah, whatever next chunk size we discover ourselves playing in or choosing to play in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just saw your post in Facebook, and I sat with this. What does it mean for me in this moment to be God having the adventure of a lifetime? Like, what is that right now? And it's so interesting with like, it's edgy. It's edgy for so many reasons. You know, but it pushes my edges because it beckons me into more expansive ways of considering this life and considering myself and considering what's possible and considering that I don't even know I don't know. And how can I open myself for whatever wants to emerge?
What a lovely word, beckoning.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. I like
You've got
words.
a delightful way of exploring and expressing you in the moment. I want to notice that,
Mm.
uh, and let you notice that it's noticed, because it's just when I'm around you, I don't get that you would often get stuck in defining you, that you get to discover you a lot.
Mm.
As a guy, quote unquote, God, I can see the gift you give to women.
Mm.
Seriously, dude. Our culture is so horribly stuck and defined, and gosh, for the dance to happen, the discovery.
Mm. Mm. Thank you for that reflection. I think I've been so moved by, I came into your community, I don't know when. I don't know when I was supposed to. Um, not too long ago.
And not a moment too later
And
soon.
not a moment too later soon. It wasn't a long time ago. I mean, it was sort of on the more recent side because I'm sort of an action taker, I think, as you know, and so I wasn't in the community very long before I contacted you and said, "Hey, what's this DDD thing? Like, I think I got to do it."
Right.
Right. So it was like pretty quick, but it's been it's so one of my favorite things in the world is if, I'm on sort of a personal journey of exploring and expanding something, and then I sync up with a teacher or a mentor who sort of blasts open this whole other level or layer of what's available in that particular exploration. This happened for me 10 years ago, actually, when it came to the discovery, the uncovery around my body and coming home inside of my body and coming home inside of my pelvis and my pelvic floor and coming home to center and all of that. And, when the student's ready, the teacher appears kind of thing. And so there were some things that I already had that I was exploring, but I feel like everything that I've gotten since being in this community and your community and receiving and exploring these teachings, I feel like has just blasted me open to a whole new level. And I realize the gift that this work is and how I can translate it for the work that I do. Just full stop. And it's just fascinating, and I know that you've had your journey with, supporting people or exploring addiction and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like one thing that I really recognize is that when someone is in the state of addiction, they're also very much in the state of a victim and entitled person. Like there's a lot of entitlement and a lot of victimhood consciousness. And I felt this real mission that came through to me a couple years ago, whatever it was, of part of my contribution here is to help humanity, and by helping humanity, helping myself and the people who come into my sphere, get free from victimhood consciousness and entitlement consciousness.
Right.
And And when I encountered your teachings around where are we defending our humanity and where are we denying our divinity, I'm like, that's it. That's what we're talking about. That's the thing. This is where we are. Victimhood consciousness, and it's happening to me, and the blame, but then also the entitlement. This shouldn't be happening to me, and this is what should be happening, and I know, and all the stuff. And like, oh my gosh, this is so big. And now I can actually, I have more language to be able to support people in occupying a new state, and finding a new dwelling place. It's so rewarding.
It's wild to me how we set ourselves up in that section of Triple D where one of the pairings is masculine, feminine. Another pairing is humanity, divinity. And it's fascinating because it's like salt and pepper aren't enemies, are opposites. But gosh darn it, right? The other ones have to be. And it's like, wow, the flavors of you. The flavors of you. The flavors of you. I had a lovely friend. Everybody called him Gay Mike because he was Gay Mike, right? And Gay Mike comes up to me one day, and this is like 25 years ago or something, and he's obsessed with chocolate and chili. And this was way before I'd heard of it anywhere else on the planet. But he was so nuts about it that I'm like, what you talking about? He's like, you just have to try it. And only like Gay Mike could say it. It was just beautiful. Like, all right. And he's got this little fucking backpack thing, and he pulls it out, and he's got some chocolate, he's got some chili. I'm like, you're prepared, aren't you? And the next thing you know, there's me and Gay Mike in the middle of the East Park going, oh God, that's orgasmic. Wow. And it really was. Yeah. And it's like it's like the flavors of you. It's the flavors of you whenever they aren't set at odds with each other. When you can work with a client, talk to a room, lead a Zoom meeting and get what seem to be paired opposites and have them get, oh my God, you can pair up. I haven't seen Mike in 20 years, but I wonder what he's doing now. If I could hunt him down, I just wondered what would be in his little backpack of love. And it's like you got to try it. It's like, okay, I'm in.
What are the flavors of you?
What are the flavors of you? And now we've got a workshop.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta say, those wings are amazing with the color of your hair as well. Like it's like that was really made for you.
I really feel like it was.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, oh, it's cute and it sort of matches. It's like, no. Those are your wings.
I created these. Yeah, I know, absolutely. I feel it. So I have all these magical moments walking along Lake Trail in Austin. And one of my favorite times to be there is the hour before sundown. And one of my favorite times to be there is right after it's rained, because the trail is quiet and it's so alive. And there's this as I walk to the trail, there's sort of like a little side trail that meets up with the main trail. And there's this portion of it that hardly anyone was ever on because it's kind of a side trail. And there's about 10 seconds of being on this little side trail where there's just this canopy of greenery that is so beautiful and so luscious. And you've got the lake or the Colorado River that's right next to you. And it's just, I walk through it like it's like the hall of my queendom, right? Of like my castle. Like it just feels so beautiful, so magical. So the other day, it had been raining and I went out for a walk and I was going through this portion of the trail or the pre-trail. And I have this playlist that I love listening to that is like a combination of choral music and just beautiful, beautiful music that just captures my soul. And so I was walking through this portion, listening to this music. And all of a sudden, it hit me that about 5 years ago, I was living in San Diego in North County, and I wanted to move. I felt like I was dying on the vine. I felt like I needed to be in more lush nature. Now, I love San Diego, but it's not lush. It's a desert climate, you know, and so you can find lots of trails, but if there's shrubbery and sage and, you know, whatever. And I remember having just so distinctly feeling like I'm dying on the vine, like I need some lush nature. Fast forward to the other day and I'm walking through and I was like, oh my God, I created this. I manifested this. I seeded this 5 years ago. I brought this to myself. How beautiful. How beautiful. Mm. Mm.
I can feel you there.
Mm-hmm. Mm. You know, something that I've been exploring is the emergent of home, the emergent experience of home.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, because I'm out here in Austin, but I don't yet feel at home. I feel at home in certain respects, but this feeling of being home and that moment with that lush nature was such a like, this is home. This moment is home. This experience is home. That leaf is home. And I've been paying attention to those moments that I can land in. You know, they're like, this is home.
Which brings us back to innocence and trust.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. 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 So much. My heart feels so full.
Yep.
And there's so much more, you know, there's just so much more, but that's, you know, I'm a teacher as well. And so I'm a student as well. And I'm infinitely curious as well. And touched by life constantly in the process.
I remember when we talked about doing this, we talked about public or private, part public, part private. I don't know what you want to do, but if you wanted to go public or whatever,
yeah, that's fine.
I really invite you to If you want to share how to contact you, or if you want me to put that in the
Oh
thing
yeah.
you do, because you got a lot, you give a lot. You're just delightful to dance with, and I've got a super secret agenda. My personal one is more playtime and more playmates, and it doesn't mean water skiing. Some people think it's like, I just wants to screw off all day. No, 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 no. Play. I want more playtime and more playmates, and I've got plenty of both. But I want to play.
Mhm.
And when we dance and when we play and knowing you, I get that. I don't care what we call ourselves. People call me different things. I call me different things, but it's like you have this invitation, you have this beckoning.
Mhm.
You do bring the light, and it's like I want people to get to know you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, well, I'm excited to share. I'm actually launching a YouTube channel in the next couple of weeks. So that's exciting. So you
All
can
right.
find me at Debbie Lichter on my YouTube channel. I mean, I have it now, but I wasn't really taking it seriously. So I didn't really do anything. So I'm like properly actually launching it
All right.
on a consistent basis. So that would be a really fun place to come and connect. And then, I mean, my website, freefromfoodaddiction.com, for women who want to be free. And I just got to get on my soapbox for a second, because, I'm with you. Like, you can be free. You can be free from any addiction. Like, you don't have to be, abstinent or clean, or I'm this many days and I'm, like, you can have a life where you are absolutely free, where you have a healthy relationship with yourself and with food and your body, and you can enjoy things. And I mean, I have so many women who come through my my program, my Freedom Embodied Academy, and with full blown sugar addictions or chocolate addictions or this, that, and the other, who move through a process. And you and I have spoken about this before. I believe that it's not about the food, right? It's about what's driving you to food in the first place. And I believe that it's an internal state of discomfort and dis-ease that drives you for an external source of ease and comfort that you find in food or drugs or gambling or porn or social media or Netflix or whatever it is, fill in the blank. It doesn't really matter. And that's why when people are focused on the thing, they're missing the whole point. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Totally.
Because as long as you have that internal state of discomfort and dis-ease, it's going to drive you for something. Fill in the blank, who cares? And so the whole thing that I'm supporting women with is guiding them through this proven process of, regaining an internal state of ease and comfort is pretty much what it is. You regain an internal state of ease and comfort. It completely eradicates the need to go outside of you for an external source of ease and comfort. It's like the problem just goes away. Whatever the problem was, whether it was shopping, whether it was, love addiction, whether it was food, whether it was whatever, who cares? Alcohol, it just goes away. And so, I get so warm when I start talking about these things, but, there was a reason why I brought that in, and now it's gone. Oh, because of this. Because I want women, everybody, but I happen to love working with women, to know that you can get absolutely free. And these women will come through this process. They'll move through this process. They'll regain that connection, that internal state of ease and comfort. They go back to being able to enjoy a piece of chocolate without it turning into a binge. Being able to enjoy a bowl of ice cream without, spending the next 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, in this cycle. Like, they are restored. And then food gets to become food because they've accessed something that is so much more profound. They've regained access to their inner divinity. Like, what is better than that? This internal feeling of being okay no matter what. Like, this internal feeling of I'm okay because guess what? I'm God. I'm divinity. Of course things are okay. And of course I have what I need. And of course I don't need to fear that I'm going to lose what I think I have, or what I think I need, or not get what I need. How could I not get what I need? It's all here. It's just so beautiful. It's so rewarding to be able to cut through all the bullshit and really support women in actually coming home to themselves and rediscovering, remembering who they are, right? Waking up from that bad case of amnesia and being like, oh my gosh, it's just the best. So anyway, I'll step off my soapbox for a moment. But
I tell you what, I'll step on your soapbox because this is what I notice is at the core of it all. When you can be you, the human you, the divine you, food gets to be food. Booze gets to be booze. Sex gets to be sex. But if you don't let you be you, if you have to deny your humanity or your divinity, suddenly food becomes a false god or the devil or some combination of both. So, and then so does sex, so do puppies, so does booze. And then you hide in a closet. Ah!
Right.
Yeah. And
right.
What's that? That's a jail cell.
It's a jail cell. It's a jail cell. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you are a woman listening to this right now and you want freedom, then connect with me. So you can come and see me on my YouTube channel, or you can come to freefromfoodaddiction.com, or you can find me on Facebook.
Cool. Send me links for all those so I can put them up in the video commentary thingy do.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's help more people remember who they are and how this works.
I'm with you. Ditto. This has been the ultimate delightful dance today.
I agree. So honored.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, 20.
Thank you for sharing your love and you. And I imagine you with many, many, many playmates. Thank you.
Thank you.